The St. Louis Cardinals are moving Willson Contreras to first base. How about that? Why is this happening? Is it a good or bad idea? Let's get into it on Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter, X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. This episode being brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return. On FanDuel, new customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Very simple. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So, we got some news today, did we not? First and foremost, I want to apologize for this coming out so late, but had multiple things going on today and jobs and stuff. And, if you follow on Twitter X, I was keeping up to date on everything that was going on. So it's not like all of this came and like I didn't have any opinions or anything on it whatsoever. But I had to do some other things before I could get this episode out. So now we're getting it out there. And wow. We knew the Cardinals were going to have to do something at first base. We knew that. They're moving on for Paul Goldschmidt. Not an easy thing to do. A beloved member of the team, of the community. We've discussed the options of, Alec Burleson, Luken Baker, Jordan Walker. And the one idea that I kept coming to was moving one of the three catchers over to first base as well. Is that something that they might be interested in? I've brought it up repeatedly. My everydayers, you're right here with me. I have brought this up over and over and over. And they did that. They just didn't pick the guy that I thought they were going to move over there. It looks like the team has decided that Willson Contreras is going to be your new first baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. I assumed that Ivan Herrera was the likely candidate to try at first base. And I had my reasons. The shortcomings that we saw defensively behind the plate this year. He's younger, so, kind of, you can still mold him. What's the phrase? You don't want, what? It's hard to teach old dogs new tricks, right? Younger guy, maybe making the switch, do it now, no big deal. Has time to learn and grow there. And Ivan Herrera's bat needs to be in this lineup. If he's going to be on this team, it needs to be in this lineup. He was one of the better hitters from the right side when he was up with the Cardinals this year. Hit 301, OPS of 800, OPS plus of 124 in 229 at-bats. For a team that was starved offensively this year, it was a little bit weird that they weren't letting him hit as much. But they like Pedro Paz behind the plate. The pitchers apparently like him behind the plate too. So it just made sense to me to give Ivan Herrera a chance at first base instead of Willson Contreras. I didn't think that Willson Contreras would be up for this, but apparently he is. According to Katie Wu from The Athletic, in his various conversations with players under no trade clauses, Jamo Zalak says that Contreras was very clear about his desires to stay in St. Louis. Both parties decided it would be best for his health and longevity of his career. Mo says it's unlikely Contreras will catch at all next year. Ivan Herrera, Pedro Paz are in line to split time. Now, Contreras suffered 2 major injuries this year. We know this. The forearm and then the finger, costing him half his season. Only appeared in 84 games this year. One of them was while catching. The other one was while hitting. But you and I both know that catchers take a terrible beating back there behind the plate. Blocking pitches, avoiding backswings like JD Martinez's long one. Plays at the plate, although not as physical as it used to be, they still happen. Plus, just the up and down grind of playing behind the plate. Have you ever tried to just get up and down and squat for like 2 hours a day? Have you ever tried that? You know how exhausting that is and how tough that is on your knees? Plus, you know what people don't think about? They don't think about how many times the catcher has to throw the ball back to the pitcher. You get these pitchers who are on pitch counts, and they're like 100 pitches, get them out of here. The catcher is still back there throwing it back every single time. Yeah, not the same velo, but he's still doing it. It's still the motion. It's the wear and tear on the arms. It's just rough. The tools of ignorance is what the catching equipment is nicknamed for a reason. Mo even said that when he spoke to the media, saying that the medical team recommended this. Said if he really wants to extend his career, they feel it will be best for him. Catching is a demanding position. I do think as we look to the future, this gives us the best opportunity to give these younger players that chance. Those quotes coming from Derek Gold's story at STLtoday.com. And with as much money as you've invested in Willson Contreras, mostly for his bat, let's not sugarcoat this. When he came on as the catcher to replace Yadier Molina, there wasn't a soul on this planet that thought he'd be able to hold the candle to what Yadi used to do defensively. And we were right. We were right. The whole thing about pitch calling and all that, I don't even know about that stuff, all right? That is, I'm not in the clubhouse. I can't tell you how confusing things got for him. That was just a weird situation in 2023. But we all knew that Willson Contreras was an all-star catcher, not because of what he did behind the plate. Cannon for an arm, that was great. But the rest of it, not the best. And it was his hitting that made him stand out, that separated him from the other catchers in the league. So, if you're focused on what the best things that Willson Contreras does, it's hitting, right? This move makes sense to keep him on the field more so he can hit more. You let Herrera and Pages handle the catching. Wilson's down there at first base. He'll do some DHing as well. Alec Burleson from the left side. You still got Lucan Baker in the fold as a bench bat. Burley will get his chances in the outfield and against right-handed pitching as the DH. There will be times that both of them are in the lineup where Willie's in there and so is Burley. So I just don't see how this is a bad idea unless Willie is just dreadful defensively at first base, where it's like just god awful. But guys go from catcher to first base later in their careers a lot. Like you've had Buster Posey's one of those guys. Joe Mauer for the Minnesota Twins. Carlos Santana, a guy that just won a Gold Glove Award with Cleveland at age 38. He was a catcher coming up. So it's not like the Cardinals are doing something just wild. Like moving him to left field was wild. Having him transition over to first base, that's not reinventing the wheel by any means. So people freaking out about this, I mean, it's not new. It usually is what happens with catchers as they get older. They decide, all right, let's take them from, especially if they're still good hitters, let's get them out of this area where there's so much more risk for injury and get them somewhere a little bit safer. All right. Catchers have good hand and eye coordination. They're quick enough. Let's move them down to first, see what we can do. So making a move like this makes a lot of sense. I was just a little bit surprised that Willson Contreras was like, yeah, I'll do that because he wants to stay in St. Louis, which is great. It's absolutely cool. Willie can swing it with the best of them behind the plate. We know that. But how does he compare to other first basemen? You're making a position switch. Is he still an elite bat, even if he goes down to first base? We'll discuss that next on Locked On Cardinals. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app, it gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL. It's all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you got the Thursday night game, Ravens, Bengals. They had an absolutely awesome game the last time they played against each other. Went to overtime. Ravens ended up winning because of a long Derrick Henry run. Boy, has he been good this year. But that is what you can bet on for Thursday Night Football. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right there on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com and join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave your comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. The feedback is always welcome and encouraged. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of feedback and a lot of comments about this. Already, let me go check out the Twitter right now because I put up a poll earlier about, what people were thinking. Good or bad move with Willson Contreras moving to first base. Right now, 68% of the vote is saying it's a good move, that it's a good move. And that's the thing. It's like, when you say it's bad, leave a comment as to why. Some people are just saying I'd rather trade him. This guy's need a don't care option. Well, why are you commenting if you don't care? But anyway, let me know. Okay. Feel free to speak up and, have your opinions heard and we can discuss them in a future episode. So Willson Contreras, as far as a hitter, as far as a hitting catcher, one of the best hitting catchers since coming up with the Cubs. He's been outstanding. Career batting average, 258, over 162 game average. He hits 26 home runs, 80 RBIs, the OBP, 353, slugging, 461. The OPS is at 814, OPS plus of 117. That's all fine and dandy, and it's really good when you're a catcher, which is usually a position that isn't known as much for offense as some other positions, on the diamond, like first base, where, it's always that slugging first baseman, right? So this past year, we know Contreras had an injury-shortened year, only made it into 84 games, right? Hit 262, 15 home runs, 36 RBIs. Was at a career high of 380 for OBP. His slugging was at 468. His OPS, 848. OPS plus a career high at 136. He was having a hell of a season, and it sucked that. And I brought this up before. What kind of a season would the Cardinals have had if Contreras was healthy in the middle of that order between Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado? How did him not being there affect what happened to those guys as well? Like the ripple effect, we'll never know, but I'm guessing it didn't help, when you lose a guy that is supposed to be your 3, 4, or 5 guy in the lineup, and he's gone half the season, that's going to hurt you a little bit. And so when you take Contreras' numbers, compare it to Paul Goldschmidt's, all right, it's really not even close. Goldie hit 245. He had 22 home runs, but he needed 298 more at-bats to hit 7 more home runs. 65 RBIs for Goldie. The OBP was poop, 302. Slugging at 414, the OPS 716, OPS plus 98. So it wasn't good. So we already know offensively, you expect Willson Contreras to be an upgrade from what Paul Goldschmidt gave you in 2024. But that's not saying a whole lot when Goldie had the worst year in his entire career, right? And this is not to bag on Paul Goldschmidt, but it's just saying if you're trying to improve things for next year, but you're trying to do it while also cutting costs, Willson Contreras is an upgrade offensively to what Paul Goldschmidt gave you this year. But how does he stack up against the other first baseman in the league? Is he legit to be a guy mentioned among some of the top first basemen, or is he down in the middle levels? Well, I went and did some research for you. Now, granted, smaller sample size for Contreras. So, in a full season, his stuff could have fluctuated, could have gotten worse. It also could have gotten better. Who knows? But that 262 average would have been top 8 in all of Major League Baseball. This is not just National League. This is not just American League. This is the whole league of where Willson Contreras would rank. 262 would have been 8th in the league. If we multiply the home runs over a full season, we're going to say 28 home runs, 15 and 84 games. So 28? You'll give me 28, right? That would be sixth most in all of baseball for first baseman. RBIs of around 70, obviously not as great. That's around 12th. But the OBP of 380, that is second. That would be second in the whole league for first baseman behind Vladdy Guerrero Jr. in Toronto. So better than Freddie Freeman, who's been an MVP. Better than Bryce Harper, who's been an MVP. Better than Matt Olson, who was coming off a huge year in Atlanta. Better than Pete Alonso, who's about to get paid big time. The slugging of 468 would be tied for fourth with Christian Walker, free agent to be, probably going to make a decent chunk of change as well, coming off, I think, his third straight Gold Glove as well. The OPS of 848 is fourth. The walk percentage would be second among first basemen. His weighted runs created is third among first basemen. In the time that Willson Contreras was on the field and in that batter's box, Willson Contreras was holding his own with a lot of the best hitters in baseball, and certainly near the top among catchers and first basemen. The stats don't lie. And if Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pages can combine to offer similar production that they did this year as catchers, I think that what you're going to find overall is that it's an upgrade to the offense to have Willson Contreras down there. And if Pages continues to be the defensive guy that they think he is and that he showed he's capable of, you're upgrading yourself defensively there, and you're getting a better offensive first baseman. That is good. This is positive. Now, what can Willie do defensively at first? That's a legit question. He has played there before while in Chicago, 11 games, 51 in the third innings, and he has never made an error. He's perfect. So it's, at least first base is not the moon to him where he doesn't know what the hell he is doing whatsoever. But it more than likely will be a downgrade from the stability of Paul Goldschmidt. But no matter who you put there, that was probably going to be the case. Who is going to be as good as Paul Goldschmidt? This is a multiple Gold Glove Award winner that you're trying to replace. And despite the offense being as bad as it was this year, defensively, Paul Goldschmidt was still rock solid for you over there. So you were probably going to take a hit there, no matter what. If you had Baker, Burleson, Herrera, whoever you were going to put over there that was already a part of this organization, it was going to take a hit. Willson Contreras has been down there before. We know he's an athletic guy. I mentioned good hand-eye coordination. He's got a strong arm. Make that throw on a double play or something, or a relay throw coming from the outfield. We got that for you. Money-wise, Willie makes $18 million. It's not chump change. Spot Rack has already moved him over into the first base category, which is cool. And he, in 2025, as of right now, is the fourth highest paid first baseman in the league as far as base salary goes. He's trailing Vladdy Jr., who makes almost $29 million. Bryce Harper, 27.5. Freddie Freeman makes 27. Matt Olson makes 22. And then you have Willson Contreras. Now, Goldie was making 26, so you're already saving money there. Pete Alonso, as I mentioned, going to get paid. He'll be in the top 3 for sure. And he was at 20.5 this year. Chris Bryant was making 28 this past year. Anthony Rizzo was making 17. Josh Bell made 16.5. So what Willie is making is on par with what someone with his offensive capabilities is worth over at first base. And you've got him under that money for the next 3 years. So if this works out and he continues to just mash the way he has, and he's healthier, so he gets to play more, it's a bargain at first base. I mean, these salaries are only going to go up. They're just going to keep going up. And I know it's a lot of ifs. I get that. It's a lot of ifs. But I'm looking at the bright side here. We can sit here and be negative Nancy's about it all and be like, oh gosh, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Or you can look at what the idea is and what the kind of vision is right now, and it makes sense. The Cardinals don't have like a first base prospect, like somebody that's like, one of these can't miss kind of guys, They don't have that in their system right now. So at least nobody that the scouts believe is like anything all that special. They like Jimmy Crooks, who's the catcher. You like Herrera. You like Page's future. And now with this move, you don't have to trade any of them to clear up any room at the catcher position. And it opens up the Memphis catching position full-time for Crooks. So it just kind of shuffles things a little bit without getting rid of anybody. And I like that. On paper, it makes sense. And it shows, here's the other thing it shows. It shows Contreras' loyalty to the franchise, to his teammates, to the front office, to the coaching staff. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. He isn't interested in being traded. He's like, no, I wanted to be a Cardinal. I want to be here. Let me be here. What do you need me to do? You want me to go to first? I'll go to first. It's fine. This makes sense. I'll stay healthier. This is great. I don't have to deal with broken forearms or people's bats anymore. Cool. He wants to be around. He wants to see this thing through, and I respect and admire that. I think it's great. He was one of the guys when we were just talking, me and Thomas Govain from RedBirdRants.com, talking in our last episode about guys that we don't want to lose them because of who they are, people-wise. Like, none of these guys are bad guys. I'm not saying that. But the attitude and the way Willson Contreras goes about his business, I don't want to lose that. Like, I dig Villain Willie. I dig the mind games that he does. I dig the energy that he brings to the field and to the team and the screaming and I love it. I love it. It's a complete opposite of what Paul Goldschmidt was on this team. And it's something that I have said repeatedly that this roster usually lacks is people like that, people who are boisterous. You need that. You need somebody like that. You can't just have everybody just chill, laid back. I love it when Arenado gets that way from time to time, but I don't see it enough. I wanted to see more of it. I thought we would. We never did. I like Lars Nootbaar's energy, but guys like Goldie and, Nolan Gorman's is a cool customer. He doesn't get overly excited about a lot. When he does, I think it's great. That one time when he hit the walk-off home run, spiked his bat, I thought that was great. I want to see more of that. Give it to me. We got more news and notes next, including one pain in the Cardinals' rear end who is no longer in this division. Thank God. Plus an update on one of the hottest hitters in the Arizona Fall League. Just so happens to play for the Cardinals. We'll get to it next on Locked On Cardinals. Guys, ever feel like you need a little boost in the bedroom? Well, if that's the case, it's time you stop worrying about your performance and get Hims. That way, you're feeling confident knowing that you can step up to the plate when it's time for action, if you know what I mean. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like the chewable hard mints, Viagra, Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. Now, the process, 100% online, which is great because there's no need for those uncomfortable doctor's visits. Your medication gets shipped directly to you. It's in discreet packaging. Nobody else knows what's going on. And it's for free. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products, which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Now, for most of us that like collecting cards, the idea of spending $2,000 on any card, really, whether it's an Ellie or a Mahomes or a Luka Doncic or whatever, it's just not in the cards to go spending money like that. Now, I love collecting. I know you do too, but that's some serious money to drop. Not trying to do that. And thanks to slab packs from arenaclub.com, we don't have to. Now it's possible to score gem mints for a fraction of their retail price. Every card that is listed was hit from last week's Arena Club slab pack drop. Arena Club is the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all the possible cards, and you get clear hit rates for each one. Arena Club slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game with transparency. Now, after your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, for selling, trading, auction, whatever you decide you want to do with them. The Arena Club grading process, it's accurate, it's fast, and transparent with a full grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card was scored. Now, whether you're buying, selling, trading, displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform that you've got to check out if you haven't already. Right now, you can get 10% off your slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB. Once again, 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB. That's arenaclub.com/LockedOnMLB, code LockedOnMLB for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball to keep you updated on all the teams during this offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. He's got a lot of opinions on what's going on with Juan Soto if you haven't caught him yet. The Cardinals did make a move today. According to Katie Wu from The Athletic, the Cardinals have signed a right-handed reliever, Michael Gomez, to a minor league deal. Posted a 5.04 ERA over 39 appearances for AAA Durham, which is the Tampa Bay Rays affiliate. Another Ray coming over. But racked up a career-high 10.9 Ks per 9 rate. So strikeout potential is what we're looking at here. He'll likely be a non-roster invitee come spring training. Now, I know that's nothing that's going to move the needle for anybody, but trying to find a diamond in the rough means taking chances on some guys who showed, just a glimmer of hope, a little sliver that you can, feel like that you may be able to take advantage of and build them into something more. Rodri Munoz, who they claimed off waivers from the Marlins. The numbers say he sucks, but there are certain things about him where they're like, well, we might be able to mold him into something and he'll be useful. Now you got a Michael Gomez. Last year was guys like Ryan Fernandez, Riley O'Brien. Fernandez worked out nicely. O'Brien got hurt, so we don't know how good he could have been. But you get more arms, you get more, what do I say? More bites at the apple. So there's no guarantees these guys will amount to anything, but if they do, then yay, go Cardinals, right? Another bit of news today. Longtime menace of the Cardinals. This one put a big smile on my face today. Longtime menace of the Cardinals, Kyle Hendricks, no longer with the Chicago Cubs, has agreed on a one-year deal with the Angels. That's got to lift your spirits, right? It's got to. If that doesn't, I don't know what does, because Hendricks has tormented our poor Cardinals for a long, long time. Even in the years where he hasn't been very good, he still dominates the Cardinals for some reason over and over and over again. It was perplexing because you see him come out there and he's just this soft-tossing right-hander who, for one reason or another, just magically turns into Greg Maddux every time he sees a Cardinal uniform in the batter's box. And Hendricks has been a solid pitcher in his career. I'm not saying that he's just been trash and then he only beats the Cardinals, but 97-81 record, 3.68 ERA in his career. Pretty good. But against the Cardinals, he's 14-4 in 28 starts. 2.51 ERA. His next highest win total was 10 against the Brewers. Now, before we start popping champagne and singing Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead because he's no longer with us, please remember, keep this in mind, who the Cardinals will be facing in the second series of the season at Busch Stadium. Yep, it's the Angels. The Angels will be in town, and they will undoubtedly start Kyle Hendricks in one of those games unless they are complete fools, which maybe they are. But that would be shocking that they sign him and don't throw him against the team that he has his best career numbers against. So definitely a chance that we're going to see him again, but he won't be wearing a Cubs uniform. And like I said, that's a reason to smile. Also, another reason to smile, let's go to the Arizona Fall League. Thomas Saggese, who could end up playing a pretty big role for the Cardinals in 2025, especially if Nolan Arenado gets traded. Like if he gets moved, that opens up third base. Does Gorman go down there? Does Brendan Donovan go down there? Who's playing second? We have to figure it all out. Right now, Arizona Fall League, at least going into Wednesday's games, leading the league in hitting. What do you guys think he's hitting? 410. Who said 410? Because you're the winner. 410 over 17 games. Hit 204 in his cup of coffee with the Cardinals this past year. I think most of us like what we saw out of him. We kind of dig the fact that he's, not wearing batting gloves like Matt Carpenter and stuff like that. That's cool. But he seems like a genuinely cool guy. And winter warm-up, I know you couldn't wipe the smile off his face. He was having a blast. And he's going to be a piece of the puzzle for the Cardinals moving forward this year. And he's having a little trouble finding success in Arizona. Hitting 410. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 7 doubles, 15 runs scored, 14 walks. His on-base percentage is .532. .532. Slugging, .623. The OPS, 1.155. Not too shabby, Mr. Saggese. Keep it up. All right, thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter, X, at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. Again, making that push for 11,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. I appreciate all you guys chipping in and helping us out there. It's only going to make our love for the Cardinals grow bigger and stronger. We all need each other, right? In this season of discontent that is going to be upon us here soon. Maybe it won't be as bad as we think. We got a new first baseman. His name's Willson Contreras, and I'm happy about it. I think it's cool. I hope it works out. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Have a good one.